What's up, home bartenders? Have you ever had a fizzy Negroni? So today we're gonna do something pretty cool. We're gonna carbonate cocktails using a whipped cream siphon. So if you wanna do this at home, it's pretty easy. All you need is a whipped cream siphon. The only thing is you're gonna need different cartridges. The standard cartridges for a whipped cream siphon is nitrous. That's what makes your whipped cream. If you want to carbonate something, we don't want the same nitrous gas you use for whipped cream. We want CO2. So you can actually buy the same cartridges that come in the nitrous. You can buy the CO2 cartridges, and they should be compatible with most whipped creamers. Obviously, you're gonna have to check. We're gonna use 2 of them per cocktail, and we're gonna see how it turns out. All right, let's do it. Okay, so step 1 is to assemble our cocktails. So we're going to basically mix a standard Negroni, got an ounce of gin, an ounce of sweet vermouth, and an ounce of Campari, just putting that into a mixing glass. So we have our Negroni in our mixing glass here, and part of the research that I've done says that a chilled liquid will absorb CO2 better. Who knows? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop that in the fridge for about 20 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna get the other drinks going. All right, so next up we've got an old fashioned, pretty standard. I decided to go with some scotch, but use whatever whiskey you want. Got a bar spoon of some Demerara syrup, and then some Ango and orange bitters, pretty classic. After that, we're gonna make a classic margarita. We've got some tequila, we've got some orange curacao, some fresh lime juice, and I decided to do a little bit of agave syrup because we're carbonating this. I think a sweeter drink will work best. All right, so our drink has been thoroughly chilled in the fridge for about 20 minutes. So first thing we need to do, unscrew this. All right, so carefully pour our ingredients. Obviously there's not a whole lot. You could batch this and make a whole batch of fizzy Negroni. Whenever you batch, whenever you're putting liquid into a whipped cream siphon, you never want to surpass the max line, because obviously as you're introducing air into this, it's going to kind of expand. So yeah, don't go past the line. But we're putting like 1 cocktail, so not a problem. Okay, screw on nice and tight. We're then gonna unscrew the cartridge holder. As I mentioned, we're doing 2 cartridges per drink. I tried with 1, I didn't do it quite well. You probably could get away with 1, but just to be on the safe side, to make sure that we're getting really good carbonation, we're gonna go with 2. So you put the cartridge with the cartridge, you'll hear a little pop, because as you screw it on, it's going to puncture the container, and then the gas will be released inside. There it goes. Okay, what we're gonna do now is we're going to shake this for about 20 seconds. By shaking it, we're basically allowing the liquid to absorb a lot of that CO2. Okay, gonna unscrew the top here, get our second cartridge, repeat that process. You could probably crack this open right away and it'll probably be nice and fizzy, but you should let it sit for a few minutes just again to maximize the absorption of that gas into the liquid. Okay, we've let this sit another minute or so. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the trigger here very, very gently. This is what the trigger you would pull to release the whipped cream. That's gonna release the excess gas. It's gonna shoot out pretty fast at first, and then we're just gonna keep pressing a little bit until we release most of the gas. All right, now we're ready to serve. We just unscrew. Oh, it's smoky. Oh, look at that. We're gonna garnish with a nice orange slice. And there we have it, a fizzy Negroni. That's really neat. Tastes just like a Negroni, still has that kind of mouth feels. It's not diluted, but you get that nice fizzy carbonation. Wow, that's so interesting. It's kind of dangerous too doing this because the carbonation makes it a lot more crushable, a lot easier to drink, but this is still just a pure, booze cocktail. This is not a diluted highball, but it drinks like a highball, so you could easily drink a lot of these without realizing it. All right, next up, guys, we need to repeat that process with our old-fashioned and our margarita. So remember, we're using 2 cartridges, we're shaking in between, letting it go for a few minutes. And there it is, a fizzy old-fashioned. Man, that's weird. It tastes like an old-fashioned, but the bubbles make it so light. I could chug this old-fashioned. That's how dangerous this is. You could chug this old-fashioned. So the carbonation does dilute flavor a little bit. And I did read that in my research. So carbonating a beverage does dilute the flavor a tad. But it also makes, and that's probably why it's that much more drinkable. But wow, I'm gonna feel this soon because I don't realize that I don't usually take giant sips of an old fashioned, and right now I'm taking big sips. Oh, look at that fizz. It's like I'm pouring a Sprite. This is a margarita. That's amazing. A nice garnish here, a nice lime, and there it is, our fizzy margarita. I'm gonna try without the salt first. Let's give it a try. I mean, I think this is the one that's the least different. The old-fashioned and Negroni are pure booze cocktails, whereas this with the lime, it's already a diluted cocktail. It's still really cool because it's carbonated. I've made spicy margaritas with ginger beer, so you get that fizzy aspect. So this is not a huge departure for me in terms of flavor, in terms of experience, whereas these ones were totally a new crazy experience. This is fairly familiar. It's still delicious, but those are cooler. All right, so we made 3 fizzy cocktails. We got our fizzy Negroni here, we got our fizzy old-fashioned, fizzy margarita. They're all pretty fantastic. I think my favorite would be the fizzy Negroni, followed by the fizzy old-fashioned and the fizzy margarita in the last place. This is a fun experiment. If you want to give it a try, I highly recommend it because it is fun. And yeah, that's it, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.